The black SUV's tires crunch against the dirt road of Makoko's slum, completely out of place among the weathered wooden shacks and rusty zinc roofs. Chioma's hands trembled as she clutched her grandmother's frail body, watching three men in expensive suits step out of the vehicle. "Are you Chioma Adebayo?" the lead man asked, his voice sharp and businesslike. Her heart hammered. Had she done something wrong? Was this about the expired permit for her food stall? She couldn't afford any fines. Not now, not with Mama Nene so sick. "Why, yes, sir," she stammered, instinctively stepping back. The man's stern expression didn't change. "You need to come with us. Now." Tears sprang to Chioma's eyes. "Please, sir. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. My grandmother needs me. She's all I have. Please." "Miss Adebayo," he interrupted, pulling out an envelope. "Do you remember giving food to a homeless man 3 weeks ago?" Her blood ran cold. The beggar. The one she'd given her last portion of akra and pap. The one who'd returned twice more, and each time she'd helped him despite having nothing herself. "That man," the suited gentleman continued, his lips finally curving into the slightest smile, "would like to have a word with you." The rear door of the SUV opened, and a man stepped out. He was clean now, dressed in a crisp white agbada with gold embroidery. But those eyes, she recognized those eyes. "You," Chioma whispered, her knees nearly giving way. "You were the hungry man." "My name is Obi Okafor," he said, extending his hand. "And you, Chioma, have just passed the most important test of your life." Hello, guys. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments. What would you have done if this happened to you? Let's dive in. The Lego sun hadn't fully risen when Chioma lit the kerosene stove beneath her battered aluminum pot. Around her, Makoko was already stirring. Children crying, roosters crowing, and the ever-present smell of the lagoon mixing with smoke and frying plantains. "Chioma, Chioma." Mama Nene's weak voice called from inside their small wooden shack. "Coming, Grandma." Chioma wiped the sweat from her forehead with the edge of her faded wrapper and hurried inside. The room was barely large enough for the thin mattress they shared and a plastic bucket that served as their bathroom at night. Mama Nene was sitting up, her breathing labored. The cough had gotten worse over the past month, and Chioma knew, though she tried not to think about it, that her grandmother needed to see a real doctor, not just a herbalist down the street who charged 200 naira for bitter leaves and prayers. "You should rest, Mama. I'll bring you some pap when it's ready." "You work too hard, my child," the old woman wheezed, reaching for Chioma's hand. 23 years old, and already your hands are rough like mine." Chioma forced a smile. "Strong hands, Mama. That's what you always taught me. Strong hands build strong futures." She returned to her cooking station, just a corner of the communal courtyard where she'd paid a neighbor 5,000 naira for the privilege of setting up her small business. The akra batter was ready, and she began dropping spoonfuls into the hot oil, watching them sizzle and turn golden brown. By 7 a.m., her regular customers started arriving, mostly laborers heading to the docks, Okada riders looking for quick breakfast, and domestic workers on their way to the wealthy neighborhoods on the mainland. "Ani Chioma, give me 3 akra and pap. Make the pap thick, oh," called out Emeka, a young Okada rider who always haggled but eventually paid. 200 naira, Chioma said, wrapping the bean cakes in old newspaper. Last week was 150. Last week, vegetable oil wasn't 7,000 naira per gallon, she replied firmly. "You want or not?" Emeka grumbled, but paid. This was the dance they did every morning. By noon, Chioma had made only 1,500 naira, barely enough to buy ingredients for tomorrow and contribute to the medicine Mama Nene needed. She kept aside 1 portion of akra and a small bag of pap for herself. Her stomach had been growling since dawn. She was packing up her station when she saw him. The man was sitting against the wall of the abandoned shop across from her, his clothes dirty and torn, his hair matted. But something about his eyes caught her attention. They were alert, watching, not glazed over like some of the drug addicts who wanted the area. He caught her looking and slowly raised his hand. "Please, sister, I haven't eaten in 2 days. Chioma looked down at her last portion. Her stomach cramped painfully. She'd planned to eat half and give half to Mama Nene. But this man... Chioma, don't even think about it. Warren Blessing, another vendor who sold smoked fish nearby. That one is probably a thief. Or crazy. You know how these beggars are. But Chioma was already walking toward him, the wrapped food in her hands. Here, she said softly, kneeling to hand it to him. It's not much, but it's fresh. The man's hand shook as he took it. Up close, she could see that despite the dirt, his hands were different, not callous like a laborer's. The nails were broken now, but the fingers were long, refined. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice hoarse. "Chioma. It means God knows best." She smiled. "At least that's what my grandmother tells me when things are hard." "Thank you, Chioma," he said, and something in the way he said it made her pause. There was weight to those words, as if he was thanking her for more than just food. As she walked back to her station, Blessing shook her head. "You're too kind for this world, girl. Kindness doesn't pay bills." "Maybe not," Chioma replied, beginning to wash her pots. "But Mama Nene always says that what goes around comes around. If I can help someone today, maybe someone will help me when I need it." Blessing muttered skeptically. "That grandmother of yours filled your head with too many fairy tales." Chioma didn't respond. She finished cleaning up, counted her meager earnings, and headed home to Mama Nene. Her stomach was empty, but her heart felt strangely full. She didn't notice the homeless man watching her leave, or the way he pulled out a small phone from beneath his rags and pressed a button. "Day 1 observation complete," he murmured into it. Subject: genuine compassion despite personal need. Continue monitoring. The eviction notice was nailed to Chioma's cooking station when she arrived the next morning. Bold red letters screamed, 7 days to vacate. No, no, no. Chioma's hands shook as she read it. Mrs. Folake, the landlady who owned the courtyard space, wanted to triple the rent. 15,000 naira per month. Impossible. "I told you she would do it," Blessing said, stirring her pot of fish stew. She's been eyeing this space for her daughter's hair salon. Chioma's mind raced. Without the spot, she had no business. Without business, no money. Without money, Mama Nene's medicine would stop. The old woman had barely slept last night, coughing until dawn. "Please, I need to work," Chioma whispered to herself, setting up her stove with trembling hands. "Just let me work." The morning crawled by. Customers came and went, but Chioma's smile was mechanical. Her mind kept calculating impossible mathematics. How to find 15,000 naira when she barely made 20,000 in a good month. Around 11 a.m., she saw him again. The homeless man from yesterday, but different somehow. He wore different rags today, a torn shirt that might have once been expensive, and he walked with a slight limp that hadn't been there before. But those eyes, the same intelligent, watching eyes. "Sister Chioma," he called weakly, leaning against a pole. "Please, just water. Just small water." Blessing hissed through her teeth. "This one again? See as he's following you like lost dog." "Chioma, that man is not normal. Normal beggar doesn't remember names." But Chioma was already filling a cup with clean water from her jerrycan, water she'd carried from the public tap that morning, water that cost 50 naira per 20 liters. "Here." She handed it to him along with 2 pieces of akra wrapped in paper. "You need to eat something too." The man drank deeply, then looked at her with those strange, penetrating eyes. "You're worried today. What's wrong?" Chioma was surprised. Most people didn't notice other people's feelings, especially not beggars worried about their own survival. "It's nothing," she lied, then found herself talking anyway. "Just landlady trouble. Rent is going up. I don't know how I'll manage." He nodded slowly. "And yet you still feed strangers." "My grandmother says we're all just strangers until we show each other kindness," Chioma replied. "Then we become family." The man studied her face for a long moment, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a crumpled 20 naira note, the kind of money beggars collected after a full day of asking. "Take it," he insisted, "for the food." No, please. My dignity, he said firmly. I won't take charity forever. Let me pay what I can. Something in his voice made Chioma accept the 20 naira. It was nothing. Couldn't buy even a sachet of pure water, but the gesture touched her deeply. As he walked away, a convoy of cars suddenly roared into the area. Expensive SUVs that made everyone stop and stare. They parked right in front of the courtyard, and out stepped a young woman dripping in gold jewelry, followed by bodyguards and assistants. "Where is this famous Accra everyone talks about?" the woman demanded, her voice sharp and entitled. "Here, madam," Chioma said quickly, grateful for what looked like a wealthy customer. "How many would you like?" The woman's eyes swept over Chioma's humble setup with obvious disdain. "You? This dirty place." She laughed, a cruel tinkling sound. "I thought the Accra seller was supposed to be good, not some slum rat cooking in the gutter." Heat rushed to Chioma's face. Around them, other vendors had gone silent. "My food is very clean, madam," Chioma said quietly, fighting to keep her voice steady. "I prepare everything fresh this morning." "Don't talk back to me," the woman snapped. "Do you know who I am? I'm Zainab Bello. My father owns half the real estate in this area, including this slum you call home." Chioma swallowed hard. "I'm sorry if I offended." "You offend me just by existing." Zainab cut her off. She turned to her assistant. "Make a note. I want this entire courtyard cleared out by next month. These poverty-stricken vendors are ruining the neighborhood aesthetic." With that, she swept back to her SUV, leaving Chioma standing frozen, humiliated and terrified. The homeless man had stopped at the corner. Chioma didn't see him pull out his phone again, but she would have been shocked to hear his words. Day 7 observation. Subject maintained dignity and kindness despite humiliation. Additional stressor, threats to livelihood from Bello family. Interesting. That's my business partner's daughter. Continue monitoring. This one is special. That evening, Mama Nene's fever spiked. Chioma used the last of her savings, 800 naira, to buy paracetamol from the chemist. "Mama, please hold on," she whispered, pressing a cool cloth to her grandmother's burning forehead. "I'll find a way. I promise. Just hold on." Outside, Lagos glittered with the lights of wealth and opportunity. Inside their shack, Chioma held her grandmother and prayed for a miracle she didn't believe would come. The clinic doctor's words were still ringing in Chioma's ears. "Your grandmother needs proper hospitalization. Her lungs are badly infected. Without treatment, maybe 2 weeks, maybe less. Cost 150,000 naira. Chioma had 3,000 naira to her name. She'd spent the last 3 days begging, going to distant relatives who pretended not to be home, approaching community money lenders who laughed at her lack of collateral, even trying to get a loan from Mrs. Folake, who'd simply said, "Your problems are not my business. Pay the new rent or leave." Now Chioma sat at her cooking station on what might be her last day, staring at the handful of customers who'd bought her food. 1,700 naira. Not even enough for 1 day's hospital bill. "Chioma, you look like death itself," Blessing observed, though her voice was gentler than usual. "When last did you eat?" "Yesterday." Chioma lied. It had been 2 days. "This your kindness will kill you, oh." Blessing continued. "All this giving, 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 and when you need help, where's everybody?" The words stung because they were true. Where was everybody? Sister Chioma. She looked up. The homeless man again, but now he looked worse than ever. His face was bruised, his lips split, as if someone had beaten him. "What happened to you?" Chioma gasped, immediately reaching for clean water despite Blessing's warning glare. "Wrong place, wrong time," he said simply. "Some boys wanted the corner I was sleeping in. I'm okay. But sister, I heard your grandmother is sick." Chioma's eyes burned with unshed tears. Even the beggar knew. Everyone knew, and no one could help. "She'll be fine," Chioma whispered, not believing herself. "How much do you need?" The question was so absurd that Chioma almost laughed. What could a homeless man do with his 20 naira gifts? "More than either of us will see in our lifetimes," she said honestly. 150,000 naira. The man was quiet for a long moment. Then, if you had that money right now, today, what's the first thing you would do? Take Mama Nene to Lagoon Hospital. Chioma answered immediately. They have the best respiratory unit. I've walked past it 100 times, watching sick people go in and come out healthy. And if you had more, if you had unlimited resources... Now, Chioma did laugh, a broken sound. Then I'd make sure no grandmother Makoko ever dies because her granddaughter is too poor to save her. The man's eyes gleamed with something Chioma couldn't identify. You wouldn't buy a big house? A car? Gold jewelry like that Bella woman. What good is gold when your people are suffering? Chioma wiped her eyes angrily. Sorry, I don't know why I'm telling you all this. You asked for food, not my problems. She wrapped the last 3 pieces of akara, meant to be her dinner, and handed them to him along with her remaining pap. Chioma, you've finally gone mad, Blessing declared. That's your own food. I'll manage, Chioma said quietly. The homeless man took the food, but his hand lingered on hers for a moment. Thank you, Chioma. You've given me more than you know. As he walked away, Blessing exploded. That's it. I've watched you destroy yourself for 3 weeks. Giving to that man, giving to every person who asks, and look at you, hungry, broke, losing your business, and your grandmother is dying. When will you learn that kindness doesn't pay? When I become like you? Chioma asked quietly. Bitter and alone? Blessing's face flushed with anger. Better bitter and alive than kind and dead. The words hung in the air between them. Finally, Chioma packed up her things in silence. Maybe Blessing was right. Maybe kindness was a luxury she couldn't afford. That night, Mama Nene's breathing became so shallow that Chioma thought each breath might be the last. She held the old woman's hand, singing the lullabies Mama Nene had sung to her as a child. You're too good for this world, Mama Nene whispered. Don't let it make you hard, my Chioma. Rest, Mama. Please rest. Through the thin walls, Chioma could hear her neighbors' televisions, their laughter, their normal lives. She felt completely, utterly alone. She didn't know that in a luxury penthouse overlooking Victoria Island, the homeless man, freshly showered, his bruises wash away, was reviewing footage from hidden cameras, making notes and smiling. Sir, are you sure about this one? His assistant asked. She's lost everything. Maybe the test has gone too far. Obi Okafor looked at the screen showing Chioma's small shack, the light from a single candle flickering in the window. Almost time, he said softly. Just one more day. I need to be absolutely certain she's who I think she is. Tomorrow, we reveal everything. Chioma woke to shouting, Where is she? Where's this Chioma Adebayo? She jerked upright from where she'd fallen asleep beside Mama Nene's mattress. Early morning light was just beginning to seep through the cracks in their wooden walls. What now? More trouble? She stumbled outside, and her heart stopped. 3 black SUVs blocked the narrow path to their shack. Neighbors were emerging from their homes. Phone cameras already recording. Men in expensive suits stood beside the vehicles, completely out of place in Makoko's poverty. Are you Chioma Adebayo? The lead man asked, his voice sharp and businesslike. Why, yes, sir, she stammered, her mind racing through possibilities. Was it the police? Had she violated some law she didn't know about? You need to come with us. Now. Please, sir. My grandmother is dying inside. I can't leave her. Whatever I did. Miss Adebayo, he interrupted, pulling out a manila envelope. Do you remember giving food to a homeless man 3 weeks ago? Chioma's breath caught. The beggar. The one she'd fed repeatedly. The one with the strange, intelligent eyes. Yes, but... That man would like to have a word with you. The rear door of the middle SUV opened, and Chioma's world tilted. The homeless man stepped out, but he wasn't homeless anymore. He wore a pristine white agbada embroidered with gold thread, the kind she'd only seen on TV during celebrity weddings. His hair was cut cleanly, his beard trimmed and groomed. Diamond cufflinks caught the morning sun. But those eyes, she knew those eyes. You. Chioma's voice came out as a whisper. You were? My name is Obi Okafor, he said, walking toward her. Around them, The crowd gasped. Even Chioma knew that name. Everyone in Nigeria knew that name. The tech billionaire. The youngest self-made millionaire in West Africa. The man whose company powered half the internet services in Africa. I don't understand, Chioma said, her legs trembling. Why? Why did you pretend to be homeless? May we sit? Obi gestured to the chairs his assistants were already setting up. Expensive folding chairs that looked ridiculous in Makoko's dirt courtyard. Chioma sat because her legs wouldn't hold her anymore. Blessing was in her doorway, mouth hanging open. Other vendors had abandoned their morning preparations to watch. 10 years ago, Obi began, I was exactly where you are now. Poorer, actually. I slept under bridges. I ate from garbage bins. And people stepped over me like I was trash. Except for one old woman who gave me food every day for a month. She didn't have much, but she shared it. His voice grew thick with emotion. That woman saved my life. She died before I could repay her, before I could tell her that her kindness gave me hope enough to keep trying. I built my company in her honor, and every year I search for someone like her, someone who gives even when they have nothing, someone with true character. Chioma's heart was pounding so hard she thought it might burst. You were testing me? For 3 weeks, I watched you. You gave me food when you were hungry, water when every drop cost you money, respect when I was dressed in rags. And yesterday, his voice cracked slightly. Yesterday, you gave me your own dinner when your grandmother was dying. Tears were streaming down Chioma's face now. What does this mean? Obi stood and gestured to one of his assistants, who brought forward a leather portfolio. It means several things. First, he pulled out a check. This is 3 million naira. Immediate funds for your grandmother's treatment. A medical team is standing by at Lagoon Hospital as we speak. Chioma couldn't breathe. 3 million. That was more money than she'd see in 10 years. Second, Obi continued, I'm purchasing this entire courtyard from Mrs. Folake. You and every vendor here who treated you with kindness will have rent-free space for 5 years. Those who mocked you, his eyes hardened, will need to find somewhere else. Blessing, who'd spent weeks telling Chioma she was foolish, began to cry. Third, I want to offer you a position. I'm launching a new foundation, the Mama Nene Foundation for Community Development, and I want you to be its director. Salary, 2 million naira per month, plus benefits. Your job will be to find people like yourself and help them build sustainable businesses. The crowd erupted in cheers and shouts. Chioma couldn't process it. This was impossible. Things like this didn't happen to people like her. Why me? She finally whispered. I'm nobody. I have no education past secondary school. I don't know anything about running a foundation. Obi knelt in front of her chair, taking her hands in his. Because I don't need someone who knows business. I need someone who knows people. Someone who sees the hungry man, not the homeless man. Someone who shares her last morsel because it's right, not because she'll be rewarded. He smiled. Besides, you'll learn the business part. I'll teach you myself. But character, that can't be taught. You already have what matters most. And one more thing. Obi stood, gesturing to the largest SUV. Your grandmother needs immediate care. Will you let us take her to the hospital? My personal physicians are waiting. Chioma nodded, unable to speak. Within minutes, medical personnel had carefully lifted Mama Nene onto a stretcher. The old woman's eyes fluttered open, confused. Chioma? What's happening? We're going to make you well, Mama. Chioma sobbed, clutching her grandmother's hand as they loaded her into the vehicle. Everything's going to be okay now. Everything's going to be okay. As the SUV pulled away toward the hospital, Obi turned to his assistant. Any other matter? Zainabello. Her father has been informed of his daughter's behavior. He's not pleased. He's asked to personally apologize to Miss Adebayo. Good. Obi said quietly. Kindness should be celebrated. Cruelty should have consequences. Chioma stood in the courtyard of Makoko, surrounded by neighbors who'd ignored her suffering for weeks, but now wanted to celebrate her miracle. She looked at the check in her hand. 3 million naira, and at Obi Okafor, who disguised himself as a beggar just to find someone worth investing in. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for seeing me. No, Chioma, Obi replied, his eyes warm. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible. That's the difference between people with money and people with wealth. Real wealth is in here, he touched his chest, and you're the richest person I've met in years. 6 months later, Chioma stood in front of floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lagos Island. The view from the Okafor Foundation's 20th floor office still took her breath away. The sprawling city, the harbor glittering in the afternoon sun, the endless possibility of it all. Miss Adebayo, your 3 o'clock is here, her assistant called through the intercom. She still couldn't get used to having an assistant. Send them in, please. The door opened, and a young man entered, thin, nervous, wearing clothes that had been washed so many times they were nearly transparent. Chioma recognized that look. She'd worn it herself not long ago. Mr. Chukwu, please sit. She gestured to the comfortable chairs. Not behind her desk. She'd learned that barriers made people feel small. Would you like water? Something to eat? No, Ma, he said quickly, perching on the edge of the seat as if afraid he might dirty it. Thank you, Ma. I read your application. Chioma began, picking up the folder. You want to start a phone repair business in Adjugano? Yes, Ma. I've been training myself for 2 years using YouTube videos. I can fix almost anything, screens, batteries, software, but I don't have money for tools or a shop space. I was hoping... He trailed off, hope and desperation warring in his eyes. Chioma smiled. The foundation will provide seed capital of 500,000 naira, rent-free shop space for 1 year, and business training. After that, you'll pay back only the capital, no interest, at whatever rate you can manage. Does that work for you? The young man's eyes filled with tears. Ma, you're serious? Very serious. But there's one condition. His face fell slightly. What condition, Ma? When you succeed, and you'll succeed, I want you to remember how you felt today. And when you see someone struggling the way you struggled, I want you to help them, not because you have to, but because you can. Deal. Deal. He was crying now, not bothering to hide it. Thank you, Ma. Thank you. I won't let you down. After he left, Chioma stood at the window again, thinking about the journey that had brought her here. Mama Nene was healthy now, living in a comfortable apartment Chioma had bought in a quiet neighborhood. The old woman's lungs had recovered fully, and she spent her days cooking for neighbors and telling anyone who would listen about her granddaughter, the director. The Mama Nene Foundation had helped 57 small businesses launch in 6 months. 57 families whose lives had changed because someone took a chance on them. Her phone buzzed. A text from Obi, board meeting in 10. Ready to present your quarter results. Chioma smiled and texted back. Ready? Don't be surprised when you see the numbers. The foundation had exceeded every projection. Turns out, when you invested in people who were hungry to succeed, they rarely disappointed. She was gathering her files when her assistant knocked again. Miss Adebayo, there's someone here without an appointment. She says it's urgent. A Mrs. Zainabello. Chioma's hand froze on her folder. That name, the woman who'd humiliated her in the courtyard, who'd called her a slum rat. Send her in, Chioma said quietly. Zainab entered, and Chioma was struck by how different she looked. No gold jewelry today. No designer clothes. Just simple attire and eyes that couldn't quite meet Chioma's. Miss Adebayo, Zainab began, her voice small. I know I have no right to be here. I know what I did to you was cruel and unforgivable. My father has disowned me from the family business because of how I treated you. He said I didn't deserve his name if I treated people like trash. She took a shaky breath. I'm not here to ask for your help or forgiveness. I just want to say I'm sorry. Truly sorry. I was raised believing money made me better than others. You taught me, her voice cracked, you taught me that I was wrong. I'm trying to be better. I've been volunteering at a shelter, learning what real life looks like for most people. I needed you to know. Chioma was quiet for a long moment, studying the woman who'd once made her feel worthless. Thank you for coming. Chioma finally said. I forgive you. Zainab's eyes widened in shock. Just like that. Just like that. Because holding on to anger would make me become someone I don't want to be. And because Chioma smiled slightly, everyone deserves a second chance. Even you. Zainab left in tears, and Chioma felt something release in her chest. Forgiveness, she'd learned, wasn't about the other person. It was about freeing yourself. The board meeting was in the main conference room. Sleek glass table, leather chairs, portraits of successful entrepreneurs on the walls. Obi sat at the head, surrounded by his senior executives. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced as Chioma entered, our foundation director will now present this quarter's results. Chioma opened her laptop, connecting to the large screen. We helped 57 businesses launch this quarter. Average revenue per business, 300,000 naira monthly. Job creation, 214 positions. But these numbers don't tell the whole story. She clicked to the next slide. Photos of the people they'd helped. A woman with her new bakery. A young man with his motorcycle delivery service. A disabled veteran with his shoe repair shop. These are real people whose lives changed because someone believed in them. And here's the interesting part. She clicked again. 32 of them have already started helping others. They're becoming what I call kindness investors. They pay it forward. The board members were nodding, impressed. But Obi was smiling at her with something beyond professional approval. Pride, maybe, or recognition. In conclusion, Chioma finished, our foundation isn't just giving people money. We're creating a culture where success means lifting others as you rise. That's sustainable change. The room erupted in applause. As the meeting ended, Obi pulled Chioma aside. Walk with me, he said, leading her to the executive terrace. Outside, the city sprawled beneath them, millions of people, each with their own struggles and dreams. I have a confession, Obi said, leaning against the railing. When I started this test 6 months ago, I was looking for someone to run one foundation. But watching you work, seeing how you've transformed this program. Chioma, I want to make you COO of all my charitable operations. 12 foundations across Africa. Multi-million-dollar budget. You'll have complete authority to reshape how we approach community development. Chioma's breath caught. Obi, I've only been doing this for 6 months. And in 6 months, you've accomplished what others couldn't in years. You understand something most people with MBAs never learn. Wealth isn't just about money. It's about dignity, opportunity, and seeing people for who they are, not where they come from. He turned to face her fully. What do you say? Chioma looked out at Lagos, the city that chewed her up and almost spit her out. The city that had taken everything from her. The city that had, somehow, given her everything back. I say yes, she smiled, but on one condition. Name it. Every quarter, we do what you did. Go undercover. Walk in the shoes of the people we're trying to help. Stay connected to the ground. The moment we forget where we came from is the moment we stop being useful. Obi laughed, extending his hand. Deal. Welcome to the executive team, Chioma Adebayo. That evening, Chioma returned to Makoko, not because she lived there anymore, she didn't, but because she'd promised herself she never would forget. The courtyard where she'd sold Accra was transformed now. Clean pavement, proper cooking stations. Vendors who'd once struggled now thrived. Blessing saw her and waved. Our big madam has come to visit us small people. Blessing teased, but her smile was warm. Never small, Chioma replied, hugging her. How's business? Booming since you helped me get that new fryer. I'm making 3 times what I used to. And Chioma, Blessing's voice grew serious. I wanted to apologize. All those times I called you foolish for being kind. I was wrong. You were planting seeds. I just couldn't see the harvest coming. You were trying to protect me, Chioma said gently. I understood that even then. She stayed until sunset, helping Blessing clean up, buying food from every vendor, listening to their stories. These were her people. This was her reminder. Walking back to her car, a modest sedan, nothing flashy. Chioma saw a young girl, maybe 12 years old, selling pure water sachets. The girl looked exhausted, her clothes patched and worn. "How much?" Chioma asked, though she had bottles of water in her car. 10 naira, Ani." Chioma handed her 1,000 naira note. "Keep the change. And this?" She pulled out her foundation's business card. "When you're ready to start your own business, come find me. We'll help you." The girl stared at the card, then at Chioma, then burst into tears. "Thank you, Ani. God bless you." As Chioma drove home, her phone rang. "Mama Nene." "My Chioma, you're coming for dinner? I made your favorite, jollof rice and plantain." "I'm on my way, Mama." Chioma smiled, tears in her eyes. "I'm on my way home." She thought about the homeless man who'd changed her life, about the kindness test she'd passed without knowing she was being tested, about how a single act of compassion had created ripples that were now becoming waves. Sometimes, Chioma thought as Lagos traffic crawled around her, the poorest person gives the richest gift. And sometimes, the stranger you help is exactly the angel you needed. Her grandmother had been right all along. What goes around truly does come around. And kindness, real, genuine kindness, always pays.